I would like to thank Legacy and Legacy for giving me the opportunity to speak at the 10th edition of the Annual Festival of Ideas 2016. Starting Silverbird was never really easy. It was in 1978, way before it was officially registered, and it was a magazine at the time. I printed some copies, but it didn't work out, so I got into promotions in 1980.
Silverbird Productions is on fire, bringing to Lagos the classy, the sassy, the sexy sight and sound of Evelyn King. Evelyn's in love, and she wants to share her love with you.
That was when the Silverbird brand fully started. At the time, we only did concerts, but my drive to get into the entertainment industry was developed when I was a student at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles. The school was buzzing with entertainment, and I had a friend called Louis Smallwood, who was a teacher to Janet Jackson on the hit TV show Good Times.
I'm sorry, JJ.
That's all right. She was just your normal, everyday, groovy, foxy, fantastic lady.
And Todd Bridges, Dana Plato, Gary Coleman, who were on the TV series Different Strokes.
No, it's me, Muhammad Ali.
You'll have to speak louder. I can't hear you over those golden harps.
My other schoolmate, a young actor called Lever Burton, who acted in Roots as Kunta Kinte. With friends like this, entertainment was my calling, but I had no money, so I created Silverbird Productions with a share capital of 20,000 naira, paid by myself, my father, and members of my family. Between 1980 and 1983, I promoted 20 concerts, some of which you might remember. Kool and the Gang,
This is your celebration. Celebrate good times, come on.
Dynasty,
Do me right, baby. Do me right, baby.
Sky,
Feels like I'm sitting on top of the world.
Brass Construction,
I can see the light.
Shalimar,
Right now, baby.
Evelyn Champagne King,
And there ain't no doubt about it. I'm in love. About you.
Delegation, and many others. I was very young when I created Silverbird. When I signed my first contract, the record company asked me where my daddy was because they assumed I was representing my father, considering I was 24 years old. When I began promoting in 1980, the exchange rate was $2 to the naira. In 1983, it was 4 naira to the dollar. So I raised my ticket price, which had been stable for 3 years, from 5 naira and 10 naira to 10 naira and 15 naira.
Live at the National Arts Theater, November 6th and 7th, 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. daily. Tickets 10 and 15 naira. On sale at all Domino supermarkets.
And I lost 25% of my audience. Economically, it did not make sense for me to promote shows anymore. So that was the end of promotions. The last concert I promoted was Brass Construction in Sky. At 26, I didn't have a job, and I always wanted to work for myself. So I later opened a nightclub called Fantasy. But that was a terrible business to get into, since I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I don't like nightlife. In 1984, I met Reverend Jesse Jackson right after the Democratic Convention in San Francisco, where he ran an incredible campaign to become the first black man to be president of the United States of America. I learned black politics from him, and at the same time, I met former heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali, and he taught me black consciousness. I was now ready for the next phase of my career. In 1986, I accompanied Jesse Jackson to the frontline states that had just been bombed by white South African forces. There I saw war and the disaster firsthand. It was Angola, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Congo-Brazzaville, and Zambia. In Lusaka, we met with the leadership of the ANC, Oliver Tambo, Thabo Mbeki, and the group that eventually took over leadership of South Africa with Mandela as president in 1991. Of all the presidents I met, 2 of them still rule their countries today. Denis Sassou Nguesso, president of Congo Brazzaville, and Robert Mugabe, president of Zimbabwe. I always wanted to go into politics since I was a child because I was driven by the thoughts of injustice.
Why are we so critical about our leaders? One day, growing up, all of a sudden, I see tricycles on the streets. Now, a tricycle is used by a child who cannot ride a bicycle, and they use a tricycle first, then ride a bicycle. But our leaders now provide tricycles as a form of transportation. And I'm saying, if you buy it, you ride it. If you're brave enough to buy a tricycle for the poor, you ride it yourself. Don't drive a car, ride a tricycle.
Politics has always been my true love, but out of boredom, I created the most beautiful girl in Nigeria pageant and the Miss Intercontinental pageant.
Welcome to the 1990 Miss Intercontinental pageant. A big round of applause from the Aikens Cultural Dance Troupe. Our reigning queen, Miss Brenda Mate from the Dominican Republic. And 19 beautiful contestants from all over the world. But before we crown the new queen, I'd like to stress the importance of the first runner-up. Should anything happen to the winner, the first runner-up automatically takes over and assumes the roles and responsibilities of the queen. I will announce the name of the first runner-up and then the queen. Are you ready for this? To organize the Miss Intercontinental pageant requires you to travel. I remember in 1986, I visited half the countries of Africa. I think we have about 50 countries. I must have gone to 25 recruiting contestants, and then I came back after 6 months and found out only 4 had beauty queens. So I was a fruitless journey all across Africa, through civil war areas of Angola, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and many countries.
Here are the 5 continental queens of beauty. Africa's Queen of Beauty is Miss Nigeria.
The most beautiful girl eventually won the Miss World pageant in South Africa, and her name is Agbani Darego.
Miss World 2001 is Miss Nigeria.
I won the rights to host the Miss World pageant in Nigeria. Unfortunately, at the same time, a young lady, Amina Lawal, was convicted in a Sharia court for having a child out of wedlock, and the sentence was to have her stoned to death. This created an international incident, frightened the contestant, and embarrassed my country. Ultimately, the show got cancelled and moved to London, and we lost millions of dollars. In 1997, we built a pop radio station, a television station, and a mall in 2003. And in 2008, we built a Silverbed Cinemas in Accra, Ghana. Everything we did was hard because we needed funds and only the banks had them. So I started dancing with banks, some good, some bad. Now the problem was I wanted to do the waltz and they liked the twist. But once in a while, we danced in sync. For those of you here today, beyond your ideas, which you believe is bankable and profitable, all you need is to convince a guy with a dark suit and dark glasses. Now the trouble is, bankers deal with historic facts like financing the purchase of rice, sugar, cement, or the construction of houses. But when it comes to creative ideas, they don't have a clue. And that's why the creative art suffers in Africa. But despite these challenges, our resilience and hunger is what makes us a special people. In 2011, I ran for governor of Bayelsa, and it was unsuccessful. But I did not give up on my political dreams. In 2015, I ran for the Senate and won.
The new Senate, if we win, will be very different because we will deal with issues that deal with the public. A lot of issues are not being discussed in the present form, but it'll be a people's-oriented Senate. And we will care about the people, we will care about development.
I am now a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, representing Bayelsa East. My story is a long one, but the organizers only gave me 10 minutes. My message to you: never give up on your dreams. Never lose hope. Never run away from a great idea, and never look down on anyone, because the person sitting next to you may become the next billionaire in Ghana. The future, who knows? Thank you, and God bless you all.